only way that they can get away with this is by derailing the enforcement of our environmental laws and our property laws. And the way they do that is by subverting our democracy, by corrupting the public officials, the politicians, by capturing the agencies that are supposed to protect us from pollution, and by eroding local democracy, the zoning laws, the planning laws, by taking away the power to zone out, facilities like this. When you should have that power, this is your community. You ought to be able to pass a zoning law that says, no gas facilities in this community. We don't want them here. We live here. You have to leave. Oh, but they get rid of those laws and they make it seem, they have this seduction of making it seem like it's okay, like it's normal, the way an addict does. That this is what I'm doing is normal. And it's not, it's criminal. And they, and what they do is, by capturing those government agencies, they're able to write the laws that govern energy policy in the state, and those laws are designed to favor the most destructive, poisonous, addictive fuels from hell, rather than the cheap, clean, green, wholesome, and patriotic fuels from heaven. And we need to change that dynamic. We need to start doing things that are good for our children. We need to start making our free market system and our government to serve the people of this state rather than serving the interests of the oil industry. And you hear the oil tycoons, the Koch brothers, and the Southern California gas people on TV and elsewhere saying, well, we need free market capitalism. We need, the markets are saying that gas is what we need, but they don't like free market capitalism, and they don't believe in it. What they believe in, if you look at their feet, where their feet are going, rather than listening to the seductive noises that come from their mouths, what they really want is this system of socialism for the oil companies and a very brutal, merciless, barbaric form of capitalism for the rest of us. And I was driving last night back from Los Angeles, meeting Los Angeles, a very idealistic kid in my car, and he was saying, I'm not going to vote for Trump, and I'm not going to vote for Hillary, I'm going to vote for the libertarian candidates. Because I believe in libertarianism. And he said, because I believe in true capitalism. And then he said to me, it's too bad that the oil and gas are so much cheaper than wind and solar. And I said to him, wait a minute. I build wind and solar plants. I spend 50% of my time building green energy plants. My company's built the 2 biggest green energy plants in North America. I know how much it costs to build a green energy plant because I built them. It costs $2.4 billion a gigawatt. How much do you think a gas plant costs? $3 billion a gigawatt. A coal plant, $3 billion. An oil plant, $3 billion. A nuke plant, $15 billion. You could make energy by burning prime rib if you wanted. Why would you use the most expensive form of fuels? You don't need to. The cheapest, and by the way, he said, well, that wind and solar, are intermittent. And I said, yeah, that's true, but the fuel is free. The photons are hitting the Earth every day for free. All we have to do is build the infrastructure to pick them up and put it in the lines. Once you build that coal plant or that gas plant for $3 billion, let's say you build a coal plant, now you got to go out to the Appalachians, cut down the Appalachian Mountains, ship them across the country in rail yards, pulverize the roads, warp the rails, burn the coal. The coal costs $450 billion of healthcare costs every year. That's what ozone or particulates from coal burning power plants, according to EPA, that's the cost, the healthcare cost alone, just from those plants. Poison every freshwater fish in America with mercury. Every fish in America with mercury, dangerous levels of mercury. That's part of the cost of coal. The cost of oil, you build a $3 billion plant, then you got to go to Saudi Arabia, punch holes in the ground, bring up the oil, refine it expensively, ship it across the Atlantic with military escorts that, guess what, are not paid for by the Exxon Corporation. They're paid for by the taxpayer. And spill it all over the Gulf, spill it all over Valdez, burn the oil and poison the air, and destroy the forest and stuff. Once you build a gas plant, I've been to Dimmock, Pennsylvania. I've seen the faucets that you can light a match under and they'll burn for 10 hours. They'll burn for weeks if you let them. So I've seen the people who've been poisoned and these Rube Goldberg filtration systems that people have to put in their basements all over the fracking fields of Western Pennsylvania. I've been there many times. I've seen what it does to groundwater. I know that's part of the cause. We know, I used to say that gas was a bridge fuel for a little short while, and then we started seeing the methane leakage reports. We realized at that point, and now this is very well documented, that gas is actually dirtier and worse for global warming than oil, than coal, because of the methane that escapes. And this is just one methane escape. Every gas well is leaking methane, and methane is 70 times more efficient at trapping heat than carbon. So it's much worse for global warming. This is not a clean fuel. This is a dirty fuel. We need to get off. This is like the difference between brown heroin from Mexico and white heroin from Thailand. They're both bad. They're as bad as each other. And we need to just get off them. That is the answer. We need to get off them, and we can do that in this country. I'll tell you the math. We use 1,000 gigawatts of energy at peak demand in this country. Last year, there were 170 gigawatts constructed worldwide. The power industry, the gas companies have said for years that could never happen. 170, that's 17% of our entire use worldwide. To replace at 500 of those gigawatts are carbon-based. To replace them at $3 billion a gigawatt is $1.5 trillion, which is about half the cost of the Iraq War. But we can do it. We can do it. We have the ability to do it in this country if we put ourselves on a war footing and said, we are at war, and we are. And who is the enemy? Big carbon. They're poisoning our children. They're destroying our environment. They're robbing us of our future. They're melting the ice caps. They're destroying every snow-capped glacier and water source on the face of the earth. Billions of people are going to die because of there, and that's not hyperbole. We are already seeing civil wars fought across the world because of the global warming. Right now they had a 1,000-year flood in West Virginia that's wiped out hundreds of communities. This flooding is worse than anything anybody's seen in 1,000 years. That's one of the costs of natural gas. That's one of the costs that they don't tell you about when they say, oh, it's only $4.70, out of 1,000 cubic feet. The droughts in California, the fires in California, the melting of the ice caps, the hurricanes, Katrina and Sandy that hit New York and destroyed our greatest cities. Those are part of the cause of our addiction to natural gas. The only way that they can maintain, this is what I said to this kid, I said, they aren't cheaper. If we had a level playing field, they could not survive one day in the marketplace. The only way they survive in the marketplace is by capturing the political system by inertia, which means by building infrastructure that nails us down for 30 years because the union pension funds are building it and the big banks and Goldman Sachs all investing in these pipelines and these oil terminals, and they have to get their money back, so they don't want to switch.